Hi guys, I'm Prateek Kumar and I'm the host of the FitCru show. I'm also the founder of FitCru. And before I start introducing the next guest, I would like to request you all to do one thing. Please subscribe to our channel on whatever platform you're going to hear this, or whether it's Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, wherever we're present. Please do hit the follow, subscribe button, because you guys subscribing to our channel helps us grow our show, grow our community better, and we are able to get better personalities, better people, and have more engaging conversations with them. This would help our listeners understand their struggles, their journeys, and get a clear insight in their lives too. So if you guys were to join us, there's literally nothing else that I could ask you all to do, because when we come together, we'll be able to get better people into our community. So please hit the bell icon or the subscribe button or the follow button, whatever platform you all are consuming this piece of content on. Please do join our community. I would like to welcome you all, and I would like to move on to our guest now. Like, if you believe that good things are in store for you,
they happen.
They happen.
But it's hard to believe that every day. When there is a stressful job, when there's a young child, when you don't get any time to think.
That's how the universe would test you, and there would be energies that would test you and test your faith.
It's tough. Very often I have seen people give up in the middle. I've had clients who couldn't do the work. I don't blame them. When you're on a high-strung job and you're not able to first only relax only. If you can't relax, nothing can happen. If you can't relax and rest, your body will not repair itself. Life will just happen around you if you can surrender. And I think that's hard for even you and me, I'm sure.
How is Reiki different from hypnotherapy?
So there are different layers of our body. There's physical, mental, emotional. So hypnotherapy and regression is you're in a deep, relaxed state and you're working with the subconscious mind.
Okay.
With Reiki, I'm working on your chakras. I'm working on your energy centers. And I'm basically giving them high frequency energy.
Hello, welcome back to yet another episode of the FitCru show. I'm your host Prateek Kumar and also the founder of FitCru. So today we've got a special guest with us, Lamya. Lamya is not just a certified life coach, but also a multifaceted guide in the truest sense. With a background in communication and film from University of Melbourne, she's also traversed a journey from acting to activism and a profound path on spiritual and physical wellness. She is a cosmic channel of sorts. Well, she's a Reiki master and an expert in tarot cards and psychic readings. Her mission is to empower individuals to step into the luminosity, embracing joy, life, clarity, and wholesomeness. Today, she's here to share insights on how integrating spiritual healing and spiritual practices with physical fitness can lead to a more fulfilled and healthy life. So, without further ado, let's dive deeper into this unique perspective. Welcome, Lamya, to the show. What is it that you're doing now? Can you tell our listeners, our audience, what is keeping you busy? Why do you do it? Like, what gave you the calling that, okay, I need to do this to help people out?
So it started actually when I went, so I have shared this with you, but it started when I was in Australia. I was a student. One of my closest friends passed away and we were childhood friends, and the yoga mat literally was like how I dealt with my grieving process. I basically moved out of a shared house, started living alone because I felt like I couldn't understand why people were happy around me when I felt this deep void. And Australia as a place is one, in the culture, nature is deeply embedded, fitness is deeply embedded. They're very open-minded, so even spirituality is very deeply embedded and very easy to find. Practitioners, communities, and I think I was probably seeking. And at that time, there was a voice in my head that said, you came to college, you just did the whole study, get in, then go to college, and I felt like I hadn't made enough choices for myself at that point. Of course, I chose what to study, but even that, there was a bit of a tug of war with my parents and what they had wanted for me and what I chose.
What did they want for you?
So my dad wanted me to do business.
Okay.
And my mom really wanted me to do science because her family is full of doctors. And that's the irony, right? Because today, I think that everything I do is to avoid seeing a doctor. And,
me too.
And I still have very good doctors in my life. Mm-hmm. And I think that what they do is incredible. But I just feel like the whole pill for an ill doesn't cut it. And I'll come back to that.
Such a nice way to put that.
Yeah, I'll come back to that because I was, getting distracted. So I used to see this hairdressing school when I used to go to where I had my lunch, and when I used to walk past to my uni, I used to see this hairdressing school, and I was always like, I love hair. As you can see, my hair is well done. Like, it's really one of those things that it's not just for my mental health, it's for like all of it. And so I was like, it'd be interesting to, just go here and see what they do, or like, what if I chose to be a hairdresser? Like, I had this like kink in my head. I said,
alternate career.
and I told my dad, I said, I want to take a semester off because I feel like I'm grieving and I want to just do other things. And they were like, because my parents could see that I was struggling, they were like, okay, do it. So I went to hairdressing school, and what used to happen is that in that school, you had 2 shifts. You had your morning or afternoon where you were in the classroom studying, and the other half, and I actually haven't shared this openly in many platforms, and in the other half of the day, you were in practical, actually giving people haircuts. And what was the most common service was this very typical Western elder woman hairstyle, which is called setting your hair. So basically, you put these rollers and then you put it under a dryer.
The thing that we've seen in
like back in the day.
Yeah.
And then you open them and then you basically like comb it out, back comb it, and then set it. So that's why all the Western women look like they have this like particular hairstyle, right?
Yeah.
It's like a perm, but it's like more like it's just curls sitting on each other.
Yeah.
And a lot of them would come and say, cover my surgery scar, or they were just too unfit to wash their hair themselves. And it was only like $7 or $8 that they would pay versus going into a salon. Okay. And so it was really like doing service, right? Because you're
It was fulfilling.
It was fulfilling, it was eye-opening, and also you have long hours and you're touching people's bodies physically, right? So the other side of experimenting on your own hair and creativity is all one thing. But I realized that if I could make people look good and they felt so good, and I felt so good, how would I feel if I actually made them feel happier, And I was already doing yoga. So I think there was this, I used to have this, because my background was also a little bit of theatre. I studied it and I used to be in, theatre circles in Melbourne as well. I used to pretend play in my house in which I lived alone at this point, where I used to be like, inhale, arms up, exhale, hands down. And I used to literally, like, my teacher's voice would play in my head and I was like, oh my God, I would love to do this. I didn't have the courage to tell my parents I wanted to do this. So I continued the yoga and I went back to school and life went on. And my brother used to, whenever I had to move homes, my brother used to come and help me move. And it's overwhelming to pack your whole life up, as a 17, 18, 19-year-old. And like, you only have your younger sibling to help you and you have to give the house back in a certain condition or your bond is, retained and stuff like that. So literally I'd be like, Amar, can you sort this out? I need to go for yoga right now, And I would go for a yoga class, and then my brother told my dad that, yoga is really good for her because she's, I saw the shift in her when she came back and she just handled the whole process much better. And I think that's when you start to realize that this is doing something to me that is making me do life better. And I really believe that, at least in my childhood and in the way that, education in India is so competitive, that I learned to stress when I was very young because there was always 2 unit tests a week, so I feel like it became like worrying about grades, worrying about life, worrying about making right choices is something that we just do unless your parents are conscious of you not having that pressure. But instead, the school I went to, they put more pressure on parents and the parents then put it on you, And so after that, I went to a boarding school in which all my classmates were like the brightest kids from their individual schools when they came for, and the IB was not very popular at that time.
What school was that?
It was the International School of Bangalore. It was like a boarding school. So I went from Bombay Scottish to this, and it was stricter, more competitive. Like literally I would fall asleep on my SAT book because I was trying to study at night and cram it all in after doing the IB, and then these guys were just swimming through it, like doing the applications. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and
because they were seasoned in it.
I think they were just, I think maybe studies didn't stress them out, and it did stress me out, because I didn't handle the pressure so well.
But that was mainly because of your education over here.
The system of education. Today I'm the biggest nerd. I'm like obsessively studying something. I'm always studying something.
What is your practice looking like right now? Like how much of it has yoga involved in it? How much does it have Reiki involved in it? How much does it have healing involved in it? like if I was to come to you with, let's say, a certain place where I feel that Lamya, career is not taking off, how would you be able to help me out?
So I would understand what you were doing last and why you stopped doing it. So I'll understand what what you really want, what's coming up, what's making you uncomfortable, where is your energy going, are you able to accept it, are you able to believe it, are you able to bite the bullet and say I'm going to do what it takes to go there. And along the way we have to, it's never happened that someone will come to me saying I have this issue and there's not an issue in their personal life as well, or in, like, they may want a promotion but they have a really toxic workplace and they also can't manifest a lover, and there's like all these things happening together, right? So I have to take a holistic approach to it, but not everyone is willing
Open to it.
to go in that full-blown way. Like, once they trust me, we see results very, very quickly, because they know that something is happening in the Reiki and in the meditation that you're doing that I thought is the best for you to do, and that your like shifts are happening. But it takes that homework, by the way. I feel like what you do with me in 60 or 90 minutes is only a blip, because I'm just planting the seed. Then you're taking the plant home and you're making sure you're giving it the water, putting it in the sun, checking the soil. That's on you, you know. And then when you meet me week after week, it's purely for that, to check if what you're doing is working. Is it taking you down into a pattern, or is it bringing out a new way, a new perspective? And sometimes we'll make progress and we'll regress, because something will come up, life happens, right? So to answer your question, I use a little bit of everything. Regression, meditation, Reiki. I always do one therapy. And I also consider divination tools like Akashic readings, tarot, and other readings that I do as part of a therapy. Because when you have insight or when you get clarity, something heals, something shifts, you get hope, your energy changes. I work at an energy level, right? So if you can meet me and I contest your beliefs and I'm like, but I think this can also happen. Because so often I'll have a woman sit in front of me and saying, I found the perfect guy after very long, but financially we're not compatible. He comes from a different world, we have totally different patterns. I'm like, if you were going to get a cut, copy, paste of what you have, like, you're never going to grow. And two, can you tell me that the way you've been brought up, or your money story, the way your parents have given it to you, is a good one? So, you know, you can't say that theirs is not good enough, because yours is also flawed. And then you keep tweaking, you know, like my partner and I don't have the same perspective on money and things, but that's how you grow, that's how you learn, that's how you grow in your relationship as well, you know. And it's not always easy. I always have to tell people that none of this is easy. And I think that's the part of the job that I do that sometimes makes me feel like, you know, life is so much. And it's only becoming more, because the world we live in is becoming more stimulating, more competitive, faster.
Everything is like now, Amazon Prime now, deliver now. So yeah, I mean, people do want results ASAP and fast, but like you said, the work requires, I mean, healing requires a lot of work, deep work. But you did mention something about divine tools, right? That's what you termed it as.
Divination tools.
Divination tools. Like how did you come across that? Like how do you feel that helps in understanding one? Because people have different perspectives.
So there are many. I would say that
the most popular ones, I think,
the first time is when my friend had passed. I had gone to a medium, because I just couldn't understand how at 18 that someone could just suddenly drown and go. For me, it was like, if you're sick and you're old and you go, it's okay, you know. But if you're young and you're healthy, and I was with you the day before you left, and you're no longer on this planet, like, how can that be, right? And when I connected with him on the other side, I think, and I went with our other best friend, and basically the stranger woman is telling me that he says that he sees you sleep with the blue blanket, that is one that was his, that was in my house. It creeps you out, but you also realize that, and she's like, who's the one of you that likes to cook? You know, evidently not me. And it was my other friend. So, you know, faith was there. I mean, you couldn't fight it, you know. And then I also was a little like, years passed before I delved into this again.
Okay.
Because it is a little out there and it's a little spooky. And I'm also talking about 2000 and, like, I don't know, like 9, 10,
The world was different back then.
really different, right? So I have a tape, I have a cassette that she gave me the recording. Even if I want to listen to it, I'll never be able to like get a tape recorder.
Where will you play it?
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
there in my parents' house in this one drawer. And I'm like, someday I'll get something to listen to, so
Is it like that cassette player?
it's a cassette, because I think even in Australia, was doing something a little out there even then, you know. Whereas now it's a lot more common because the planet is evolving. Even though there's this, see, because we live in a dual world, even though there's crazy stuff going on, there's massive growth happening. There's major breakthroughs happening. People are exponentially growing on their spiritual paths. That's why wellness is exploding. And then there's also disease that's exploding, suffering that's exploding. We live in a dual world. There's going to always be that more in both ends, like they feed off each other. And the more darkness, the more people awaken. The more darkness, the more people are like, I can't live in a world like this. I want to change something, about myself, or about my world, or in my relationship, or whatever. And so after that, I think it was just a pack of cards, a particular angel pack that I had bought from a store that was on my street. And like for me, going into that store and crystals that were like $50 and $100, which I couldn't afford as a student, means I would just go in that store and hang around, and just see everything. And then I'd pick up one thing after 6 months. But I would go in there a lot. And also they had all these agarbattis, and it was called chakra. So I was like, okay, I just feel like I'm a little bit at home for a bit, like I'm in India. Because all the stuff they had probably bought and taken from here only, When I was in Melbourne in 2022, I took Soel to the store, my husband, and it's still there, and it's still the same. It's got harem pants and shawls and crystals and some, packs of cards. So the thing is that the concept of angel cards is not very complex. It works on the law of attraction.
Okay.
I think with any deep spiritual work that you do, you just need to really have a very pure intent. Because like I described about the duality, it exists even in the energy space. So this is not something you take lightly. And this is probably a reason why it's not as discussed in the world, because there is an element of black magic and weird things do happen to people. Like, a week ago, my hairdresser was telling me that he knows someone who, there was black magic. And in my world, there's only white magic. But that's because I am maintaining that energy of my own. And so the moment there comes a desire for greed or desire for, more money or ego, in any of these, you're working away from why you came onto that path originally. Okay. And that's very dangerous. And so I think that I always joke with my close friends and say I'm a psychic in the closet, because I'm so uncomfortable talking about it to my friends who don't know me as that. And my best friend's like, it's going to be the name of your book. And I'm like, I don't know. But so I feel like I'm still learning, in spite of being given this gift. I think that I cannot equate it to success or the number of clients, like in my coaching work, even though this comes up, because I can't separate it. It's my essence, but I still feel like it cannot be a cut, copy, paste. And only if the person's ready will this stuff show up. So I work as an intuitive coach. I get guided to tell them things that I'm like, why did I even say this? And very often I'm using things from my own learned knowledge as well. And then this is this other flow of, energy coming through. But I still feel like I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know if I'll continue it, because it requires you to have very good hygiene in terms of your own thoughts, your own habits, practices. It exposes you to a lot of information that you have to sometimes process, which you may not even process consciously. You may just need to take a nap.
It's so overwhelming at times. I mean, the things that people go through, and I was probably like, well, what people share with me is still is not as personal and as deep as what they would probably share with you. And I'm sure you would have your own routine to just let go and release everything.
That's why I have to move.
Yeah.
Because movement is the best way to release excess energy, as you know. If you're frustrated, if you're angry, or just shift stuff out of your system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Movement.
Tell me, is there one client success story, or maybe not a success story, a story that you always remember?
I don't think there's one, because there's so many, and like.
But just one.
It's a journey, right? I think I do pride myself in a lot of the IVF successes I've had. So basically, people try IVF, and it's because something is not working to begin with. And then the whole journey is so daunting, because there's so much left to chance. Doctors also can't give you any guarantees. It's a lot on a woman's body. Then you're pumping all these hormones. So you're like, can I trust anything that's happening in my brain right now? And I think that I can safely say that even with failed IVFs, working with me, we've always had a successful IVF. Like so far, with all my clients, first round, I've had it. But it's not me. It's the Reiki. It's me convincing them. Sometimes they may chicken out and say, right now, I want to stop the work. I don't want to, they may have done one part of the IVF process. And then they're like, okay, I don't want to do the implantation now. I want to wait some time. And then they'll come back when they're ready. Right? So I think that's the beauty, that people have their own pace. And they must feel ready. And Reiki works in completely mysterious, multidimensional ways. So I may feel guided to work on your third eye, or I may feel guided to work on one of your chakras. But like, of course, I'm putting the intention when we're working with IVF for something in particular. But you're basically allowing something larger than you, like life force, to take over and guide your journey. So there is a level of surrender in the work that I do. I can't say that I cannot take the credit for it, is what I mean. I think what probably works in my advantage is that I'm likable, I'm personable, I have a sweet face, people feel comfortable talking to me, and so they share stuff, and I think that's...
That definitely plays to an advantage. But yeah, that's massive. Like I can kind of relate, because a few clients that we've had where they've had trouble conceiving, and because of the fitness programs, we've got their fitness levels like really up and running, and then they were able to conceive. And those calls are something that stick by me. When they're like, probably, they're bawling or they're crying on the phone, and they're like, thank you so much. We never thought it would be possible. Doctors have given up on us, and they make us feel like doctors. They make us feel like God even. But we just got their life sorted. I mean, we work on a very...
I think something larger than us work through us.
Sometimes, yes. I mean, we do get I do get the feeling that we are more like a conduit, or we're just like a medium where we are processing things. Because whatever we bring in our practice, or whatever I do when I'm consulting my clients, is not just from what I've learned in my academics, right? Of nutrition or exercise or programming. It's what I picked up in life. And that's what I probably help. And
for sure.
And that helps my clients. So obviously I'm always like going out there, getting new experiences, so then I can probably package it in my own way and then present it to a client. And I think a lot of you would be doing a lot of that too, right?
I guess it's like, first I get called to study or learn something, then I want to experience it for myself. Once I feel like I think that I can use it for this and this, I can go further, but very often I have seen people give up in the middle. I've had clients who couldn't do the work. I don't blame them. When you're on a high strung job and you're not able to first only relax only. If you can't relax, nothing can happen. I mean, this is what I've learned. If I have to simplify it, if you can't relax and rest, your body will not repair itself. Life will just happen around you if you can surrender. And I think that's hard for even you and me, I'm sure.
No, but it's so funny that you're bringing this up, Lamya. Like I was in my therapy session like last week or 2 weeks back, and she was like, you know what, I see a change in you. Like in the last 1 year, you've become a little more restless. You've become a little more, you phase out and you start thinking about other things. And like, I can see that's happening, and you were not like that. Your attention span seems to be reducing. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've just got so much on my plate right now, and I'm like constantly thinking about different things. And she's like, yeah, but then you need to understand, the more things you have on your plate, you need to give that much time and attention rather than focusing on different things at different times. And I think as we start growing, the way we process information, the way we deal with life changes. Our entire perception, the whole body changes so significantly. Like, so my point of saying this is, like, you might have one way of working with a client at one part of or one phase of their life, and that would be completely changed. That'd be different, right? So so does Reiki also change as
No. What I do in each session will be different, because what you'll be feeling and your energy will be different.
Okay.
So when I'm working on you, you may tell me, I have my back's hurting. my lower back's hurting. And I'll pick up on the fact that you have a lot of tension in your shoulders, which you didn't even tell me about.
Okay.
At the end, I'm like, I also worked in shoulders, and like, yeah, my shoulders have been paining. My neck and my shoulders have been hurting, and that's the beauty that, like, when I work with someone for the first time, I ask them lots of questions to make them feel like they're in control, because you have to let them feel like that. It's a human thing. And then
Coaching 101.
and then you basically, when you go in and you're like, okay, I felt that you had this in your knee, and they're like, yeah, I've had a surgery in my knee, so like, then they build that trust, because they're like, how did you know about it? How does she know about it? And I mean, it always surprises me also. I'm like, okay, so this means that it was successful, because I've gone in the places where the body may have needed it and was not even consciously aware of it. But I'll tell you the irony of this work, right, is that when I try to give myself Reiki, which I do every day, I fall asleep. I basically have a snooze, unless I'm sitting. Sometimes I have to stand and give myself Reiki because I want to, because it's so relaxing that I need to sometimes go to someone else and be like, listen, I want a full body Reiki. Like, there's a lot going on. I think I need, So like, I mean, ideally, you should be able to work on yourself. And I think I've had times when I've been able to work much more easily. But when, as you said, there's a lot going on and the mind is processing, the first opportunity it gets to just rest, boom, right? So I've had to make it a habit to now start doing the Reiki first thing in the morning on some days. And look, I'm a person who, you give me a routine, you make something repetitive, and
You'll follow.
It'll kill me.
Oh, okay.
Like, I need to keep changing things up. So even my morning routine, people ask me, what's your morning routine? I'm like, it's ever changing. Probably the only thing that's common in it is that in the mornings, I don't want to talk to anybody for the first half an hour. But like, what I do in that half an hour, some days I may check my email because I'm feeling like I have things that I practically need to solve. And then I'll more often than not learn that I shouldn't have done that. Almost every week, because then the day just starts much faster.
Yeah.
Some days I'll play Hanuman Chalisa and chant. Some days I'll listen to music so I can bob around, because I really want to feel into the day. I want to feel my energy, because we wake up feeling so pure and excited, and then life comes at you, and then suddenly you're like, am I just responding to everything that's happening, or am I actually consciously creating, And I think that's something that has been a difficult question for me to answer for myself also in the last few months, because I feel like work, when you're successful and things are happening, like productivity, right? We all measure success in productivity and numbers and how many clients you have and how much good work you're doing. And sometimes I feel like it's becoming hard, because I think that I'm so deeply conditioned to do that, that even if I want to say, I will take a week off and just go to Goa and just discover and just see what's coming through me, I just can't. I can't bite that bullet and do it, It's so bad. So I'm being very, very, candid in sharing this.
No, absolutely.
Because I feel like in a world where people are going at rocket speed, you don't want to be left behind. And the reason I talk about rest and relax is because that's something that I've had to learn to be like, surrender to it. Especially for women, because we literally have the seasons happening in the month. So you really need to be like, and no matter how much you try, you can't plan it. So you're going to have to cancel some things, you're going to have to seem like a flake, and you're going to have to own it and really say that this is what I need and this is how I'm supporting myself, and I don't feel any guilt on account of this, and I pick myself up from
Would that make you
this.
like restless or anxious all your own?
I think I would not do it on me. I would just suffer.
Yeah?
I would just do what's expected of me, because I would just, like, the image that people have of me was so important for me, that I was not able to put my needs first. And I think that and I also have a lot of clients who have this stuff that happens as well, right? Now I'm like, this is it. This is what it is.
Life happens.
And when things change, I'm like, it's okay, because we have to honor rest. We have to honor, and see, for men, it's a little bit different. Because men, and I watch my husband, he can sleep for lesser hours and be productive and still be pretty upbeat.
Yep.
For women, it's just not the same thing. And like for him, like golf is his meditation, it's his fitness. But for me, like, I think that I would really be tested at the golf course, because it's a mind game, and it's slow, and it requires you to have patience and not let it get to your head and be humbled, and there's so many lessons on the course that, and I think that's why we talk about that a lot, because I'm like, I learned this stuff a different way and you learn this stuff a different way. But he's able to do that for extended number of hours,
Yeah.
and I think it's also a privilege in itself. But I think that for women, we just have to learn to, because that's when the problems start. The health starts going for a toss. The
Yeah.
hormonal issues begin. The weight gain begins. The weight can become stubborn.
Yep.
Because you're starting to create all these layers around you, and I just think that we have to look at it holistically going forward.
So, from my understanding, like how I know probably it is, but how is Reiki different from hypnotherapy, which is different from craniosacro? Like, how are they different? Because they're all energy, right? They're all energy related, and they're all healing forms of energy. If I'm not wrong.
So there's also pranic, which works on the pranic body. Reiki works on a different. So there are different layers of our body. There's physical, mental, emotional.
Okay.
Like that. So hypnotherapy and regression is you're in a deep, relaxed state, and you're working with the subconscious mind,
Okay.
right? With this, I would say with Reiki, I'm just working on a level where I'm working on your chakras. I'm working on your energy centers, and I'm basically giving them high frequency energy, basically. So they are, when the body comes into rest or it receives this light and it can relax, it starts functioning in its original optimal form. And then everything
So energy
happens
is flowing
from
from
there.
the chakras.
So everything happens from there.
Okay.
So I work on your chakric system, and when I do, your body is relaxed. It starts coming. It's like a nervous system reset almost. It's the same. It's very similar
Okay.
to that.
Have you experienced, like, have any of your clients experienced like a different state when, like, after you're done with them? Like,
No, so they all feel like when you look at them, they look like they've taken a nap. They look very relaxed. They're talking slowly. They like. To tell you honestly, the ones who trust me have the most positive.
Impact
All of them
session.
trust me, but the ones who really
Believe
who
in you.
know that this is going to do something and have that full surrender. Because like I'll work on someone and she'll come to me talking about how she wants to manage her time better because she has these ambitions and this is what's happening with her children and her fitness. And I'll work on creating more of the receiving energy, because that's what I'll be guided to do, is
Yeah.
open up to receiving more. Because sometimes we're just giving, we don't know how to receive, and she'll call me like an hour later being like, I don't know what you did, but three clients that were stalled just called me and they all closed.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I just worked on your solar plexus chakra,
We need to connect for a session now.
So you know what I mean? Like and I can't have this expectation with everyone either,
Yeah.
So, but just to give you a perspective that it's like, I have a friend who came to me, he had this hip pain. So I said, let's try Reiki. And then he basically found the right physio who got him a line, got him the right exercises. He wanted to basically play badminton. So he was like, I need to be able to play without this happening to me.
Okay.
And I can't even walk. So like he had this like pain. So I said, you have to see a physio. Reiki will only take you that far in one session. But let's do it. Let's see what comes up, because I might get some messages. I might get some guidance when I'm in there. And I also saw the connection between the shoulder and the hip on the side, which he had not brought up with me at all.
Okay.
And then literally messaged me being like, oh my God, I found this physio. He's amazing. And I'm playing baddie this week, in a week, right? So I think that's the beauty. Like
You're able to unlock
it
things.
also teaches you to just surrender, because some days nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And then some days a lot will happen. It's like saying that this energy, which is basically life force, is much more intelligent than you. It's what keeps the world, rotating.
Yeah.
It's what keeps everything happening. It is obviously more intelligent than you, and so you just have to surrender to it, and it knows what you need best in that moment. Even though in the mind you may say, I want this, and trust me, I'm very much human, and so I have that also, where I want things to happen like this now and like that, and I have to just be like, okay, I'll be patient.
But don't you like come across like, so I believe in energy quite a bit, right? But whenever I suggest that to a few clients, they're a little skeptical until they witness it or they experience it. I'm sure you must be having your fair share of such instances as well. Is there any time that you've been able to, I wouldn't say convince, or see a positive impact in somebody's life who was completely oblivious or skeptical about quantum physics? Like I put this entire
It is.
energy into a quantum physics kind of basket, where yes, I do practice evidence-based learning and I do practice that in my nutrition, but I feel a lot of it is like how I told you at the start of the podcast. Like you will only eat well if you're recovering well, if you're sleeping well, if your mental health is fine, if your emotional health is fine. Otherwise, you won't eat well, right? I can give you the best of the best diet plans, right? Would you be able to follow it? Would you be able to adhere to it? Like, what makes it? I'll write the right portions, and you're going to be full too. But if you're emotionally feeling like not right, you're going to reach out for this bag of chips, or you're going to reach out for the cookie or whatever.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
Is what I say.
Not at all. But it's
as long as it's not every day. As long as it's not a habit, as long as it's
you can
as long as it's a mindful choice.
You can do it every day too, as long as you don't feel. See, if you are like going all out and binging and going in surplus quantities, which is going to be bad for you, and you're going to feel bad about it, right? You're going to feel bad about consuming so much,
and guilt is the heaviest.
Exactly. So then there's no point, right? You're just doing it to emotionally relieve yourself or make you feel a little better because you're not feeling so great. So point is that you need to learn how to regulate your emotions. If you can't do that, then no matter which dietitian, which nutritionist, which trainer, whoever you go to, it's not going to work.
And that's why meditation comes in. Because, so I'll tell you, my practice has grown on word of mouth.
Okay.
If you go to my gram, you will not see me talking much about this. Yes, there is some mention about it. It's almost like the success I have is so between me and that person. Like this one couple I worked with on IVF well before the pandemic, and he ran into Sohel, and then I messaged him the other day because I listened to his one track and he's a musician, and I was like, oh, this is amazing for ecstatic dance, something. He's like, I ran into Sohel, and then I realized which Sohel he was, and I got a little emotional thinking about how much you helped us in that time. And I feel like for me, at that point of the day, I didn't know anything, compared to what I know now, and I was using Reiki. Because that's the most intelligent. But it's a personal journey. So the reason I say I find clients word of mouth is because someone will have a success story, a big breakthrough. And that's why I work in communities and families and best friend communities, because that's how it's only when someone who looks at you with conviction, who you're bearing your heart to and saying, I'm struggling, will tell you, talk to her. It'll help you.
But you mentioned this like more than a couple of times that you surrendered to it. But sorry, what do you mean by you surrendered to it? Like how? You surrendered to the energy, you surrendered to your practice, or?
I think I have to surrender most of the times to how life is unfolding also, right? Is what I mean.
So you don't want to take control, like you are not somewhere.
No, I'm very much. I'm a control freak and a half, actually. But what I mean is when some things are going like today, right? When I had perfectly arranged this meeting with you.
Yeah.
And I had left for a meeting in the morning, and I had yesterday said, can I come in half an hour later just to have that buffer? And at 11 o'clock when I finished that meeting, I saw a message saying that we should reschedule, whatever. And I was like, oh, great, the universe opened up some time for me. I'll go get my Starbucks coffee because that's my treat, because otherwise coffee gives me wings. I am so ungrounded. I'm like, I don't need to be grounded anymore. I'm just going to get a coffee. And I called my dad up. I said, okay, I'll come visit you in the office, blah, 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 I'm in Bandra. And then she called me and said, oh no, it's back on. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. And I was like, what are you doing? Right? I didn't say that, but that's what I mean by surrender, because life happens. And I know so many people who are inconvenienced by this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so I had my coffee. I couldn't finish it because then I was like, okay, now I can't get wings, but I've had it and I'm going to enjoy this. And I'm just going to show up. And in a way, I was like, so when you say you surrender, you just say that whatever is in the highest and best interest of you shows up. But you cannot say through life, I'm just going to surrender, because we are creators.
Yeah.
And it's just that sometimes we are creating from our ego or our lower mind versus our higher mind. And we get obsessive that this needs to be in this way. And then our lower mind is operating, right? And so when
that's the child in us.
The child, the ego, so the way one of my coaches has taught it is that it's three things. It's the child, it's the weather reporter, like that person said this is the time we should get married, the weather reporter, the child, and the chicken, which is your fear. Okay. Right? So when the lower mind is at play, it's impossible that you won't have fear, you won't have the child, and you won't have the weather reporter, right? So basically when you're working from the higher mind, you're like, okay, I want to go to Turkey, so I'm going to put aside some funds and make it happen for me. If you're feeling like, poor me, I live in a world that's so competitive, so I need to struggle and life doesn't happen, you got to make it happen.
Yep.
But if it's not happening, you need to trust that something else is coming through, and you need to have that patience and surrender. So this is what I mean. But when I talk about surrendering in any of the energy work I do, it's not like I'm surrendered. It's just that I'm not letting my conscious mind dictate it. I'm not looking to past success. I'm not looking to past markers that have said, okay, this is, like, I don't repeat what I'm doing. It's not cut, copy, paste. It's like, okay, something is coming through. Let's just be in a flow state. And honestly, that's just happened for me. I'm so fortunate, because when you're doing that, and I tell you, I learned it pretty early on, because when I had started teaching yoga, I was like the youngest teacher.
Okay.
And there were a lot of teachers who had like full classes. And one of the ladies told me, like one of the other teachers told me, she said, you are here to do basically your karma. You're here to do your seva, your offering. So it doesn't matter if 2 people come or 20. What you teach will remain the same. And that really stayed with me,
Yeah.
So of course, when I want 20 people in a class and there are only 12, I'm like, shayad Friday ko rakhna chahiye tha. That you better turn out. But even then, that's the ego, right? But even then, I think that taught me that when I went into that class and I laid on the mat, I said, okay, whatever is larger than me, take over and help these people in the best way that I possibly can, in the best way that they need. And that's all. It's literally a statement that allows you to do that, and it just makes you open.
But I mean, I keep going back to this thing that you just said. Like, all of us have these 3 things, like the weather reporter, the child, and the chicken, and it's so true. Like, it just explains like what you said. Surrender, and you don't know what you want to surrender to, but it makes sense, right? Like, if you believe that good things are in store for you,
they happen.
They happen. But if you are,
but it's hard to believe that every day. When there is a stressful job, when there's a young child, when you don't get any time to think, when you are just
but that's how things
on
test
repeat.
you, right? That's how the universe would test you, and that's how call it whatever. But there is good energy, there's bad energy, right? So there would be energies that would test you and test your faith or belief in till when will you be able to surrender to the good that you believe is in store for you.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it's really
going to get challenging, and there would be times where it would just break you even. But then I guess we have people like you.
No, but I also respect a lot of other people who think that they fight through it. They don't surrender. They're like, no, I will do this. And what I'm learning is that everyone comes with unique lessons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if in the same situation, I should take a step back, someone should be taking 3 steps forward. And that's the beauty of what we do, is that you cannot have one shoe that fits all. It's such a unique way of working. Honestly, I feel like the best part about my life, after my husband, is, because he's going to watch this, is the fact that I get to do what I do, But I cannot equate it to saying like any other job that I'm going to get the same steady income every month. You can create packages and things to give you that. But, at the end of the day, you have to be able to meet that demand, and you cannot work like a machine in the work that I do. So even though I love it, I have to say that I have to flow with it as much as I can. And that's why I do different things. And that's why I keep it interesting for myself as well, so that I don't have to put that pressure. But that's my favorite part. Like, when I look back, I'm like, I did this and this person had this breakthrough and it's so good. It feels good. It definitely feels good.
Yeah, I mean, if you can create a positive impact in one person's life, it's so changing. But you're constantly meeting different people, and it's not just their life that you're changing, right? They're connected to so many other people.
Yeah.
And when they are happy, they're taken care of, they're healed, then their joy spills over on the people that they're connected to. So
absolutely.
Yeah, this has been good. We have a small segment to this entire podcast. Well,
yes.
I've written certain questions. Well, it's my, I wouldn't call it my deck of
like rapid
cards.
fire.
No, not rapid fire. It's like how you have all the cards. So I call this struggle and strength.
So do I shuffle and pull a card?
Yeah, it's random cards with random questions, right? For us to know you better, for us to know that Well, I'll tell you what. It's called struggle and strength because the entire concept of health and fitness is that you are going to struggle
Life.
through it. Yeah,
With your struggle comes your strength.
exactly. It's more about that, and these questions are more on those lines. Sometimes it doesn't come up in conversation. Sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't come up
Absolutely.
in the script that we have probably written ahead. So it's just certain questions that I keep in this, and then I ask the guest to pull it out. You read the question, you answer it yourself.
So what? I just pick a random card.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Whichever you want.
I want to pick two.
Well, we're going to be picking three. So, go for one more.
Oh, where did my hand go? It went somewhere here.
And if you don't like a card, then you can change the card also.
How do you prioritize your physical health? With my fitness, actually.
Okay.
Fitness and food. I think that you would think that I would say I prioritize my physical health with my mental health, but I think that my mental health relies on my fitness.
Okay.
So movement, nature, so like hikes, treks, like I think that those are really like get me excited. And like if I'm working out regularly, I'll find that hike a breeze and I'll enjoy it. So it's like investing for the bigger moments in a sense. And also like what I mean by food is that I have never been a good eater since I was a kid. I never liked food because I never liked food. I had lots of high prana, I think then. I didn't need food to survive. I was bouncing off walls. And when I started to become aware about food, I realized that I don't like heavy food.
Okay.
Right? So I tend to eat like things like chillas and dal chawal sabzi and like a little one protein element will come into my meal. I mean, I don't get excited about what I'm going to eat. I am like grounded by what I eat, right? So that's my physical health. Having said that, of course, I like going to a restaurant and trying new things and flavors, but I know that that doesn't always sit well in your physical body, right? It's an experience. It's for your senses. It's not for your health.
Yes.
So basically, I think that for me, the food needs to be simple, wholesome. I need to have choice. I need to have choice, and basically, I need to be able to prioritize and make that time to move my body.
So you move daily.
I would say 5
Almost.
times a week,
Okay.
4 to 5 times a week. If I'm sometimes twice a day, because I'm just like if I have the energy and I'm feeling it, because I used to teach like 4 or 5 classes a day, right?
Yes.
So from there, I'm definitely not as fit as I used to be, and that mind will play that thing. Be like, no, I still want to be at my as I age, I want to get more optimum. Like that's why I chose that so that I would be able to do headstands at 60. You know, like, and then I've had a shoulder injury that because of which I can't hold a headstand for long right now. You know, so like it humbles you.
Yeah.
Means it doesn't. It just will trigger being able to do a basic workout the next day. So I'm like, let's just stay at basics so we can show up, and that's a lot today instead of trying to do what's the ultimate.
Yeah.
You know?
What's the max that you could?
Yeah. So, what motivates you to get out of bed every morning? I think my next travel. Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
What is one of your favorite travel destinations?
I wouldn't say I have a Greece. I love Greece because I love.
So you like when it comes to travel, you like to relax a little bit.
Yes, I definitely need to be in a place in nature. So I like anything that has, like if it's a tiger reserve or it's a mountain or it's a beach or even like Goa. But more than anything else, I want to go to places that like I want to have looked back at my life and gone to many
Culture.
places, you know, and ticked off. And like this world is so big, beautiful and vast, and where what we do on a daily basis is just such a blip of what can be experienced in this one life, you know. But because we live in this structure, we have to show up for it. But there are heaps of people all over the world who still make money, who still do cool things, who still impact people's lives, and they get to wake up in paradise every day. And that's my dream. You know, like that's the only thing about like, so what motivates me is to keep working towards like doing more and then earning that vacation or like making it happen. But like when I travel with my husband, like he likes to do more cities and he likes actually culture. He likes to go to museums and stuff, which I like. Of course, I like doing that. But for me, I would love if I had challenged myself through doing something physical, you know. So when I used to travel alone a lot when I was younger and before I got married, I used to do retreats. Partially to study, but partially because I would meet different people. I would be in a completely different terrain and I would do something different, like as simple as riding a bike once in Greece, which was in like these hills, And I realized after all those years of yoga, I couldn't do it. These Americans were just riding away into the sunset, and I was struggling every time another peak came, you know. But that moment, I still remember it. It was defining versus a great ice cream that I had somewhere. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. Like if you challenge your physical body and you've climbed a mountain or you've done something great, you're like, you remember that feeling forever.
Yeah, it stays with you forever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you stay resilient in the face of failure and keep pushing forward towards your goals? Just get up. Like you fall off the bandwagon, you get back on it. I think that
Is there any time in your, like during your career where you experienced that you worked with something and it didn't?
3 months ago, so I was for the last 2 years, I was also working in my dad's company in HR.
Okay.
I still am.
Okay.
Last month, I worked on the trade show. Basically, what was happening there is that my father has built this company single-handedly with a few employees because we don't have like, my dad doesn't have any brothers. So it's not like a big family business. It's only him. And he's ambitious and he's incredible and he's created something incredible in the way, like in terms of value and numbers and all of it. But when I started going there, I realized that this is not looking like it's sustainable into the next 10, 20 years. The way it's going, I wanted to create more systems, more technology. I wanted to get people, leaders to be better trained, to build teams, I wanted to attract younger talent. Because I feel like I learned so much from them, you know. And I just had so much resistance from people who were above 50 because of course they don't want to change.
Yeah.
Even I want to change sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's every human's like to be able to have life be more predictable.
Yeah, I think we are, like, as we keep growing, we're trying to create those patterns that, okay,
in which we are more set and we feel safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't see it like that. When I was there, I was like, they're so annoying. They don't get it that this is better for the company.
Yeah.
But like, they were operating from their fears. Maybe they thought that they'd become redundant if I made some changes, you know.
Yeah.
But today I see that what they are really wanting is just to feel safe. And I wish I had a better approach. But I had to take a step away from it for some time because it was creating stress for me in my physical health. And I was just feeling so disenchanted with life, which is just not a place that I can be in because it just felt like it's pushing a boulder uphill. And here, people are coming to me and are like snapping a finger and things are happening. So I told my dad once, I'm like, you know, people come to me for my opinion. And here I'm giving my opinion and you're like discarding it, you know. And he's like, yeah, but I can't be biased to you just because you're my child, you know. We're gonna have to do away with your opinion and then try someone else's, see that doesn't work, and then give yours a shot. And you can say, I told you so, but this is the way it's gonna be. So I think that I still haven't fully like recovered in a sense where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and go back, because I think that I still have to figure the right perspective to take that on in the same gusto, and I don't know if I will. But the beauty is that my creative projects like my Oracle cards, which actually started coming together in 2022, were just on hold. I was just not able to complete them because I was not sitting in meditation, I was not receiving guidance, I was not getting that inspiration. So, you know, I think that sometimes when you fail, you have to pivot, you have to try a different way.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is clearly not working. Sometimes when you fail, you have to say, I'm going to just keep going, you know, and I'm going to pick myself up. And very often, I think that we need to give ourselves credit for just showing up.
Perfect. This has been fun.
It's been so lovely to chat with you. I felt like this was literally us having a chat at home.
Chilling. And that's what I told you. It's going to be informal. It's not going to be like we have an agenda in place. The agenda right now is to cook. So,
yes.
So we're going to be prepping the chila. And the reason why I wanted this entire part in the podcast was because people do feel that A, healthy food doesn't still feel it doesn't taste good. B, at the same time they feel that prepping healthy food is going to be a lot of effort. Which is why I was like, you know what, we're going to keep everything ready, ingredients ready, and we're going to prep it and show it that you are not a cook, I'm not a cook. This is not something that I don't know if you enjoy it, I don't enjoy it. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not something that I enjoy doing, but
it's a choice.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it either.
There are some times I might, but I can't do it on a daily basis. But still, we can prep healthy food. And if the ingredients are kept ready and if things are kept ready, then it's going to be much more easier. So this kind of connects to what we do at FitCru, where we tell people this is what you should eat, keep things ready for the entire week, plan your groceries well, plan your pantry well, and if it's planned well, then you
And
can
that's what it really takes.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, then you're gonna get like, I don't
decision
have this,
fatigue
I
all
don't
the
have,
time.
yeah.
And then you'll be like, screw it, I'm just going to Swiggy.
Decision fatigue. That's
Yeah.
the right word.
So yeah, then that's what we're going to transition
Cool.
into. All right, perfect. Perfect. So you will be prepping this. I'm going to spectate because I am very bad. Like I told you, I'm very bad with food. I'm good at telling you what to
So
do.
basically, you want me to do this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I can obviously assist and tell you that okay, we have oats.
So, there are so many different ways to make chillas, but I'm happy to learn about what's giving a good amount of protein.
So the reason why we've given this is oat, right? Yeah, this is
Oats.
oats.
It's just that it's been soaked.
Yeah, so soaked oats, soaked moong.
And this is yellow moong that is soaked. Yeah, it's not yet boiled.
So I promote a very balanced, less processed diet.
This is what I was trying to avoid. All the
Okay,
little,
we'll clean it.
all the little moongs coming out. I'm putting more moong than oats because I want it to be like having a good amount of protein.
So what's this?
That's hing.
Here you go. I'll pass it on to you.
That really helps usually with digestion, especially if you're having lentils. I think I'll put a little bit more.
All of it? Here you
Yeah.
go. Should we like cut this and put it?
Yeah. I will not touch the chili
Why?
because my hands will feel spicy after
Shall I
that.
put two?
No, one is enough.
Okay.
And this is cumin powder, jeera powder basically. Great.
And how much ginger do you want?
This is ginger and
Looks like
adrak. This
ginger.
is adrak and lasan.
Oh,
It's only ginger?
this much good.
Yeah, put a little more.
So you do cook.
I mean, I get it cooked. So I know what I want to get cooked for me. And some salt, obviously, otherwise no food is edible.
So you already put green chilies. Do we need to put red chilies also? That's going to be one spicy chila, man.
I think this is optional. I honestly, I would have put, depends, it's such a like swad anusar situation with chilies. I actually became really conscious. I used to love spicy food. I became conscious of chilies. Oh, I have to add the water, hang on. When I started doing yoga because of inflammation. So red chili powder, I don't have only anymore. Is that about right?
Let's see.
I think it's about right, but I also, so I do it a little different. I blend all these things and then add the water. Yeah, and then add the water before I make the chilla. But we have to make them understand how to do this. I put a lot of oil.
That's not a lot.
I need to put the other corner.
That's
as
good.
well. I just feel like I don't have the fear of oil, but like sometimes these cooks really do put a lot, like the ones who come and cook in our home.
But that's why we have the spray, right? I mean, you can't like go overboard with it. So not bad.
I think I could have put a little bit more. It's happening. Should I just take it off the pan?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think this is done.
So, of course, hummus is a great option with this. I love it when it gets golden.
But I told you, right? I mean, there are multiple ways to add protein to this. So if you're non-vegetarian, you can add chicken.
Yeah, into the chilla.
Like a wrap. So make it a wrap like a base, and then add chicken. But then I like my chilas with tofu. Like I grate tofu on it, and it's yum. And also, like a lot of people don't like the taste of tofu.
Should I make one more?
Can do. Like,
Do you want to try this time? Because now the
wanna
pan
try
is nice
this.
and hot also. So you'll probably be... It's this recipe.
It's not my recipe. I'm just trying it. I hope I can get a circle right first. I've seen people do this.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, not bad.
And now we lid it. Smelling so good.
You want to taste it?
I do, but I want you to taste
The
it
chili
first.
or the salt? What are you okay?
Both. It's going to be too spicy for me and not salty enough for you.
Nice. Not spicy at all.
Really?
No spicy at all. And it's the perfect salt
Maybe
for
we
me.
put a lot. This is fabulous. It's a little spicy for me.
It's spicy for you?
It's well blended though.
Good stuff.
Salt is actually fine.
Yeah.
We are less
I like
salt
it.
eaters.
Okay, I'm hungry. I'm going for it.
You better eat it. It's good.
Okay. So that can cook.
So what would you say to complement this with? So you said chicken, hummus. What about coconut chutney? Because that's what I usually always keep with my chillas. It just gives that,
Well, I
from a
mean,
nutritionist perspective, I want to know.
I wouldn't do that.
No?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't mix that.
But it's so good.
I mean, if your palate.
Just a few, like a
Yeah.
couple of spoons. So I tell you, I come from a little place of Ayurveda, and coconut is really good from Ayurveda perspective.
So I would do a beetroot chutney. So it gives you the right combination of vitamins, proteins, carbs. Coconut is also like, okay, fine, you can probably add more beetroot into
It's
the coconut
fat,
chutney.
right? It's mostly fat, coconuts.
Yeah, and like depends why you are having it and the prep. So I wouldn't use it with this. But
Yeah, maybe not with this one, but with some, like with the sprouts, it goes.
no, even in your
decent.
coconut, so even in your coconut chutney, if you can add like grated beetroot in it, it'll give you a good
Boiled or just raw?
boil also works. Yeah. So it'll give you a good shot of vitamin B. So looking as good as yours, huh?
Because you didn't take that 2 minutes to flatten it and spread it. That's the trick. I think we'll keep it for a little bit longer. Gotta get a little red. I like mine very red, like brownish. And I also press it down so it gets a little crispy on the ends, like yours is. Okay, this is. Are you finding this is getting burnt for you?
I'm good. I'm gonna eat this.
Just a few seconds and I want to put it there.
Perfect. So I think we're done.
Yeah.
You can let that cook.
Let it cook. I think I can have it.
Oh. Thank you so much. I was starving. Kacha? No?
No, not kacha. It's just
Spicy.
it's spicy, but its consistency is. It's not going to be kacha anyway because it's already ground and it's soaked. It'll cook pretty fast. But you see how it's having that 2 layers.
Yeah. Should I flatten it more?
You need to have it like the same consistency. But yum.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for not only for cooking for us, but also for that lovely chat.
It's been so great to be
I
here.
know.